Oh, I'm sorry. Did I break your concentration? I didn't mean to do that. Please, continue.
There's a lot of things about me you don't know anything about, Daddy. Things you wouldn't understand. Things you couldn't understand. You don't want to get mixed up with a guy like me. I'm a loner, Daddy. A rebel.
And the Holy Spirit spoke to me. The gift of faith came on me. He said, kick her in the face with your biker boot.
What you talking about,
Bam!
You're a cheat and a swindler. That's what you are.
Now, let me talk to the young people here. You are prey, P-R-E-Y, for these churches. Brand new believers, pray for these churches. P-R-E-Y. It's sexy. It's cool. Calvinism, man. Because I got God in a box.
I call that bold talk for a one-eyed fat man.
The gospel's not something we live. It is an announcement of what God has done in Christ through the cross by grace to give eternal hope to those who have faith in Him.
Please, continue.
This is a Rebels Cause Radio with Jonathan Wedgeworth and your host, the tattooed freak of a man, Dan Fry.
That is right. I am that tattooed freak of the man. They call me Papa Tat on the chat, Father Tattoo from the pew, and of course my given Christian name, the one that I actually would prefer you call me, Dan Fry. Joining me in studio today is my ever faithful co-host, Jonathan Wedgeworth, also known as John Nothan, no name, no way, no how, Wedgeworth.
No way, no how is that going to fit on a business card?
No, it just, I make it longer periodically.
Yes, you do.
Tonight, we got a pretty cool show lined up for you. I'm really excited about it anyway. We've got two Skype guests. We have Seitan Bruggencate and Eric Hovind. And these guys are the alleged defamers of the Atheist Monument. I mean, they broke the thing, I hear, according to, I think it was Huffington Post said they broke it. I'm not sure.
Huff and Puff Post?
I can't remember. Yahoo said that they threw toilet seats at the crowd. They basically been taking a bunch of heat for their antics at this, I don't know what you call it, because it's not a religious group, right? So it's a crowd of unbelievers celebrating their unbelief in something.
It's a religious group.
Well, I mean, I know it is, but I'm trying to placate them. So this crowd of non-believing people celebrating their monument to their non-belief of something.
It's much ado about nothingness.
Yes. Has created this big monument. It's like a bench. Mm-hmm. It does, in fact, look, if it had a toilet seat and a little paper, toilet roll thing, I could see where somebody would mistake it for like an uncovered outhouse or something like that. It's not a very attractive piece, actually, but it's there nonetheless. And it is in Stark, Florida. And they have been pushing for this for years. Apparently, there is a big granite Ten Commandments monument there in front of the courthouse.
Mm-hmm. Yep. What's happening is they were trying to get that Ten Commandment statue removed, and when they couldn't, they decided if we can't beat them, join them. So really, what it amounts to is they're wrong, but we can't defeat them. So let's be wrong like them. Haha, that shows them.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I don't really have a problem with there not being anything there, or I don't have a problem with there being everything in the free speech zone, because unfortunately free speech covers us and them as well. Man, my mic's got some weird sound tonight. But yeah, I just having ours removed, I think, is probably, it's already there. It's accepted by the culture there. I don't see a big reason to remove it. I don't mind theirs going up, but it's kind of an interesting thing. The thing I noticed about it, and I don't have the quotes in front of me, but I didn't see anything about Islam or Buddhists or Hindus on it.
No.
In fact, the only religion I see mentioned by name is Christianity on that.
Right. And atheists will make a show of attacking other religions. I mean, they'll do collateral damage to Islam and Buddhism if it means taking out the real enemy, and that's Christianity. But generally, darkness doesn't attack darkness.
Yeah, well, it's just really weird to me because it's, if you believe in nothing, then why not attack Islam? I mean, I'm just Islam. They're the people that are out to convert people or kill them, right? I mean, that's the general Western perception. I don't know that that's necessarily true or accurate.
The general perception is that a Christian is not going to kill you,
Yeah.
but a Muslim very well might.
Yeah, and
So-
I don't know that that's true. I mean, we have a Muslim guy that's opened up a authentic Mexican restaurant next to. I know, I know, next to my salon.
Now there is a Lebanese cafe here in town that very well could be owned by Muslims, and I would trust them for food.
Yeah, well, he's opened up a burrito shop, and I've actually had time to talk. We've sat and talked for several hours at this point about religion.
Is this where Tacos Andreas used to be?
No, this is right next door, literally to the sushi shop. Sushi shop. Yeah, I try to say that a bunch of times fast with the slur. That's awesome. But anyway, I don't feel like he wants to cut off my head, but there are some, I'm sure, somewhere. I digress. Back to the point, though, is we're the only religion mentioned on this thing, which strikes a chord.
Doesn't surprise me.
Well, it doesn't surprise me, but it strikes a chord because that shows me that they're not doing it to celebrate what they believe. They're doing it to degrade what we believe.
Well, okay, they do make some positive statements in there, and by positive I mean assertive statements. Like the sky is blue. That's a positive statement. The sky should be blue is a normative statement. They make positive statements in there, so there is some assertion there. But they definitely don't give an equal amount of airtime to critiquing other religions. Now, I think you and I both know there's a Romans 1 going on behind that. But to put to devil's advocate, to put the best construction on it I can, what they're probably using as their excuse is Christianity is the established religion. Why make a big effort to take out a religion that's not the established religion?
Because let me take the devil's advocate part here.
Okay, all right.
But as somebody that's thinking about this, if you're denying any deity, then deny all deities. That just makes sense to me. Why particularly be fascinated with one? To me, that shows there's something special about that one. And again, we get into their suppressing the truth and their unrighteousness.
Well, right. And again, we're agreeing. I mean, we know that Romans 1 is behind that, but they're probably saying it has nothing to do with that. It's that Christianity is the established religion of the land.
But these guys claim to be smart thinkers, right?
They claim to.
Okay. So you would think that, this is I think it's a pretty poignant critique. They didn't attack anybody other than Christianity in their monument. That I find it an attack piece is what I find. I don't think it's a monument to atheism. I think it's an attack on Christianity.
Oh, it is.
If they had attacked everybody or stated what they don't believe, perhaps that would have made more sense.
If they stated what they didn't believe, it would either be a huge monument if they were going into details, or it'd be like a little business card.
Well, we only have the Ten Commandments, and I realize that they could get a fair amount of what the atheist mantra is. They have that whole, we don't build churches, we build hospitals and things like that, which
actually historically it's been Christians who's built hospitals.
I'm trying to think here. Let's see. We have Lutheran Hospital, built by Lutherans. Methodist Hospital.
They're taking the names out of those.
I haven't heard that yet.
Yeah, they're changing them to secular names now.
Well, that'll be interesting. Yeah. Methodist Hospital, built by the Methodists.
Mercy is the Catholic hospital.
Mercy, the Catholic hospital. We have Des Moines General, I guess, but
not anymore.
But then,
that one went out of business.
Yeah. So, I don't know. I don't know that their point stands, at least here in town. We're just going to go ahead and cut the jibber jabber between us and bring on Cy and Eric. I want to hear their side of the story because I've read all the news reports. MSN reported on it. Yahoo reported on it. Huffington Post, UK Daily News. I found articles about it, and they painted these guys as just yahoos. And so I want to hear their side of the story. And so Eric and Cy, welcome to the show. So let me. Oh, Eric's outside enjoying the sunny Florida weather there, I see. And Cy is in Canada. So
my family's inside eating, and they said, "Get out of here." I said, "Okay, I got to go outside."
Well, and Cy's in Canada, so it's probably snowing and raining. So anyway, so you guys went to the unveiling, right? Both of you?
Yeah, I'll just back up and tell kind of the story from my perspective. It was kind of cool. Cy said, hey, we were talking about a month ago. He said, "Hey, there's going to be a new monument to atheism revealed in Florida." I said, "Man, I'm speaking that weekend." Then I found out it was just an hour away from where I was supposed to be speaking at 4:00 on Saturday, and it worked out perfect. So I got to go over there, and Cy, of course, came down from Canada. And this goes back even farther to the whole release of the new DVD that Cy did called How to Answer the Fool. That DVD is actually just, man, really sweeping the apologetic community, those that are defending the faith in God. And they're going, wow, let's stand up for truth. Let's stand up for God and the absolute standard of his word. And it's really emboldening people to stand strong. So it kind of goes all the way back to the How to Answer the Fool DVD on forward is what it does.
Okay, so when you guys went there, who brought the toilet paper in the toilet seat?
Do you want the guilty party to speak?
Well,
I read that it was thrown out of a car window.
Well, that's what I read too. Is that a true? I mean, because it seems
I do have some video footage in our possession of an atheist taking the toilet seat and chucking it. But
I do see a Lowe's receipt, it looks like, for a toilet seat. Okay, so Cy, what's the motivation behind the toilet seat being there?
I want to address something that you guys were talking about before we got on first.
Oh,
you said
please do.
No other religions are addressed, but this was a response to the Ten Commandments.
Well, right.
So in their defense, it makes sense that they were posting things against Christianity. If they were putting up a response to a Muslim monument, then I'm sure they would address Islam. Now, traditionally, they don't address those other worldviews, but I think in this case, it makes sense since it was a response to the Ten Commandments. And
then why did they put statements against Judaism?
Which ones were those?
No, I said why didn't they?
Because it was a response to the Christians putting the Ten Commandments in place there.
It was funny.
The Jews they tend to stray from the Old Testament anyways. I mean, they have the Talmud rather than the Torah as their final authority.
Well, yeah, I get that, but I'm not saying they're right or equally valid or anything like that. But we do at least share the Ten Commandments. So why would they isolate us?
On the monument was 10 specific, or at least 10 verses, biblical verses from the Old Testament that talked about punishments for people that violated the Ten Commandments. So you could say that would be a response to Judaism as well as Christianity.
Okay, interesting. But you feel like that's okay that they didn't? Because I mean, I guess I understand that they're reacting to the Ten Commandment monument, but that monument is just it's a pillar of our faith. It's not a particular attack on anybody. In fact, my wife and I were reading an article and one of the atheists said, or maybe it's even on the monument where it says this means all atheists should die, and my wife kind of chuckled and said, no, it means everybody should die. They missed the point.
They did miss the point.
And it's not the Ten Commandments isn't a particular attack on Christian or on Islam or on atheists or on Buddhism. It's an attack on humanity itself. It condemns us all, right?
Well, it's not an attack. It's a representation of the character of God.
Sure, fair enough.
Because that being God's character, none of us live up to it. So, in a sense, what you say, it condemns us all.
Yeah, it condemns us all. It doesn't just condemn somebody who doesn't believe in God. It condemns even those of us that do. We all fall short of that, which I find is kind of
everybody believes in God, Dan.
Well, I understand that. But Cy, you got to stop. You got me all. Okay, so
Mr. Consistent has spoken. I tell you, he'll catch you every single time too. He catches me.
I know he even does in friendly conversation. We're not on the radio. It's can't help it. So Cy,
this isn't friendly.
This is friendly. So Cy, can you tell us why you brought the toilet seat there?
The thing looks like a toilet.
It does. I give you that. But that's really the reason you brought it?
I've been getting some heat from Christians who don't quite understand what I was doing. They said it was a childish prank.
Okay.
It was a childish prank. It was supposed to be a childish prank. That was the point. Because what I was doing is by doing that was seeing whether or not they would be offended by somebody doing a childish prank with their monument. Now, an atheist who lacks belief should have just laughed it off. I have a friend who's an atheist, a professed atheist on Facebook, and she said...
Hold on a second, Cy. We're going to break, and that's what that really bad sounding music is in the background. This is a Rebels Cause Radio. We will pick right back up with Seitan Bruggencate and his story about why he brought the toilet seat when we come back from this break. Rebels Cause Radio is brought to you by Wrath and Grace Clothing, wrathandgrace.com.
Drug and alcohol addiction slowly steals a person's identity, tearing away pieces of their life little by little until one day it seems like the hope of a happy future is gone and there's no chance of getting it back. Here at St. Gregory Retreat Centers, we can assure you that there is hope. Our unique approach to recovery begins with the understanding that the dysfunction and damage caused by addiction can be overcome, not just dealt with. Don't let another day go by. Call St. Gregory today.
Yes, now your favorite programs on Webcast One Live can all be watched and listened to on any Android or Apple device. Your phone, tablet, or iPad. Yes, your favorite shows on Webcast One Live are available live or on podcast wherever you go. Let me introduce to you some of our great shows.
I'm Michael Libby. I'm the host of Insight on Business, the News Hour. We're seen live at 8:45 each Monday morning at Webcast One Live or whenever you want on my blog or on the internet. So what qualifies me to talk about advertising, marketing, and consumer trends? Well, it's my business. Insight Advertising, Marketing, and Communications has helped dozens of companies, small, medium, and large, learn how to use advertising correctly. And we pass that information on to you each and every week.
Hi, I'm Doc. You listen to me every Tuesday from 6 to 7 p.m. on Doc and Lefty radio podcast program, where we discuss all the relevant topics of the day, including state, local, and national politics. My partner in crime, Lefty, often likes to have a little bit of conservative justice served upon him, so please turn in for the fireworks every week from 6 to 7 p.m. on Tuesdays at webcastonelive.com. Thank you.
So when you want to watch your favorite Webcast One program, remember, there's an app for that. You know, there's an app for that.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.
Get away from us, you mean old credit card. We don't have any more money. We're in trouble now. Save us! Help! Somebody save us! Somebody help! Help! Save us!
Hi, I'm Tom Coates from Consumer Credit of Des Moines. If your credit card's a little too animated, give us a call.
Hooray! We're saved! Consumer Credit! You're our hero!
Here I come to save the day. That means that Mighty Mouse is on the way.
Don't just sit there, get involved. This is a Rebels Cause Radio.
This is a Rebels Cause Radio. I'm your host, Dan Fry. Joining me in the studio, as always, is John Wedgeworth, being produced here by Ryan Extreme Northfield. And joining us via Skype, we got two nationally known now. Nationally known. They're getting national press.
International.
International even, yeah, true. The alleged defamers of the Atheist Monument. Apparently, these guys just went there and trashed it. Cy was in the middle of telling us why the toilet seat was even present. Cy, continue on. I stopped you when you were telling me about a woman who was complaining to you about it, I think is what was happening.
No, I was telling you about an atheist friend of mine.
Oh, okay.
And she said that if she was there and I placed the toilet seat on there, she would have sat on it and allowed people to take pictures of her with the on the toilet seat on this atheist monument. Now that is consistent with atheism. Somebody who doesn't care, somebody who lacks belief, but somebody who says they have no beliefs and gets offended by something like this, it exposes that this is a religious idol for them. You see, an atheist will claim to lack belief. They say that's all that they have in common is they lack belief. But the very quotes that they put on the monument expose that inherent contradiction. They quoted Madeleine Murray O'Hair, who says that atheists believe that we should build hospitals and not churches. Well, the thing is, she can't make a blanket statement about atheist beliefs when all atheists say is that they lack belief. So what I did, I exposed the inherent contradiction of atheism. If they lack beliefs, then they should not have been concerned about what I did. Yes, it was a childish prank, but that was the point. But also, there was some righteous mockery involved there, because their monument was to mock the Ten Commandments. And there is a place in Scripture for righteous mockery. I know that Christians get upset with it, and I don't think that I'm sanctified enough to engage in it often, but I thought this was a perfect opportunity to engage in some righteous mockery. And like, for example, with Elijah and the prophets of Baal, when the prophets of Baal were calling on their God to light that altar on fire, Elijah said to them, "Where's your God? Is he traveling?"
Maybe he's on the toilet.
That's a Hebraic euphemism for "is he on the toilet?" So there is a place for righteous mockery, and I thought that this was one of those places. And since what happened is I placed the seat on the monument, and I placed a toilet roll on the back, and I declared it complete. And one of the atheists went to grab it, so I lifted it up, and he ripped it out of my hands, and he threw it. And that led people to believe that it was thrown out of a passing vehicle. But this guy resorted to physical force to take my property away from me and throw it away. Now, I'm tracking this fellow down, and I'm actually considering laying charges.
Okay. So, at what point did the toilet paper come out and you covered it in toilet paper? I read.
See, that was, and also not true. I took the. It's funny, if you see Eric's picture on Facebook where he's standing on the monument, if you look in the background, you could see me bending over, going into the bag that I brought, taking out the toilet seat and the toilet paper. You can't see that, but you can see me in the background of that picture. And I took the toilet paper and I just placed it on the tank, or which was the high part of the monument, and I took the seat and I placed it on the other part. So the first thing the guy did is took the toilet paper and he winged it, and then he went for the seat, and I picked it up, because I actually paid $10 for that, and if nothing else, he owes me that plus tax.
Well, and tax in Florida is pretty high, right? Like 10%.
7.5%.
Well, toilet seats really shouldn't have tax, though, because that would make them very uncomfortable.
Well, bada bing. Okay, so at no point did you wrap the monument in toilet paper? That didn't happen?
I don't wrap my own toilet in toilet paper. It just wouldn't make sense. People also said that I called the monument a piece of you-know-what. Well, I didn't call it that, and I know that there's nobody out there that can read minds, so they kind of accused me of thinking that, that of their monument, but I did not wrap it, and all I did was complete it. I could say that it was a work of art that I was doing, because, I don't know if you've heard of the piss Christ.
Yes, I'm familiar with it.
People don't like that term, but it's actually in the King James Bible, as Eric would be well aware of. But that piss Christ was a piece of art. Well, they claim it was a piece of art where they had a jar of urine and they lowered a crucifix into it. Sure. Now, that was highly offensive, but you don't read about Christians ripping that out of, whatever museum it was in and smashing it. But
see, I actually think that's an accurate portrayal of what happened to Christ.
Well, I mean, it's a whole crucifix thing. We can get to the second commandment thing. I don't think that the crucifix.
Well, I don't. Yeah, I would the engraven image altogether. But
I mean, it was an offensive art piece. So I could have said, "Look, I'm just doing some art here."
Sure.
But I admit that it was a childish prank. I admit that, but it was to expose the inherent contradiction of atheism. Atheists who say that they lack belief, and then they're upset when I do something like this to their altar. Clearly it's an altar. I don't get into the whole debate as whether it's a religion or not, because if you define religion as worship to a specific deity, fine, it's not a religion. But if you talk about religion as strongly held beliefs, clearly this exposed that atheism is a religion.
Okay. So, Eric, I hear you got on the monument, stood on the top, and we have pictures of this one, so I'm pretty sure this one might be real, and started preaching.
Or was that an imposter?
No, actually, they said they wanted it to be built to be used as something practical. And I thought there's nothing more practical than preaching the gospel. So we'll just go ahead and demonstrate the practicality of what they've built. And so I got up there and I simply thanked them for their tolerance so that they couldn't say anything about me being up there. And then I thanked them for the platform that they had built for people to use to preach the gospel. And then I just went on and preached the gospel.
And how did that go?
Well, they didn't receive it, if that's what you mean. But thought, at the end of the day, it's just interesting. As I stood there and listened to them blaspheme the name of Jesus Christ and blaspheme God and everybody cheer for it, I got to tell you, it does something in your soul. It does something in your heart to hear them use the name of the God that loves, that is love, and that has saved me from my sins, and use it to blaspheme and cheer at the blaspheming of his name. And my simple thought was, if it wasn't for the grace of God, that would be me. I would be one of those people. So the very least I could do is tell them of Christ's love. It's interesting. A girl, Vanessa, had done a video with Cy, and I was over there videotaping her while she's videotaping Cy and shaking her phone camera at him, and obviously pretty upset. And he asked her, he said, who's more loving, the person who tells somebody they're about to walk off a cliff, or the person who says, hey, have a nice day? And the whole point of presenting the gospel is to warn people of the judgment that's to come. So at the end of the day, that's simply what took place.
Okay. Cy, did you get to do any open air preaching there? Well, I mean,
Yeah,
I guess we know you had some exchanges, but did you actually get up there and preach as well, or no?
Well, as soon as the talk ended, I jumped up on the bench. I was sitting there in the front rows. I was actually engaging David Silverman prior to the talk, because he was in the front row of the covered area there. Then he got up there and he started speaking, and he actually started reading Bible verses of punishments of people who violate the Ten Commandments. And Marcus and I were there, and we were saying amen. And I think it really it confused Silverman, because he was telling people to read their Bibles. We were saying amen. But it's for those namby-pamby, wishy-washy Christians who are upset by the punishments in Scripture of those who violate the Ten Commandments. But we were amening it. So anyhow, he finished his talk, and then I just jumped up on the bench that was right in front of me while the crowd was still there. And I started open air preaching for a few minutes, and then of course they ran up to me, and then that's when that Vanessa engaged me, and she posted the video online. And I'm surprised actually that she posted it, because it didn't go very well for her. And then you could see that Eric is filming me. You could see in Vanessa's shot that Eric is filming me. And then Eric went up on the monument and stole my crowd.
That guy, Eric is always trying to steal people's crowds, though.
Now, I've heard a rumor, and I'm sure it's not true, but the rumor is the monument actually got broken. That's false, right?
Well, Eric broke it.
No, the monument is broken. It was broken the very next day as well. The police came out and put crime scene tape around the monument, which, of course, we found very fitting, didn't we, Cy? And the whole point was the glue hadn't dried, the epoxy that you put it together with hadn't dried, and so all the individuals that are sitting down taking pictures with David Silverman had kind of moved it a little bit. And did you guys already watch the YouTube video of the open air preaching there? It's up on our YouTube channel.
I gazed through it. I didn't watch the whole thing.
You didn't watch it. It's 60 seconds long. Don't tell me you gazed through something that's 60 seconds long.
This is going to sound like the biggest cop-out in the world, but right before I left to come here, I went to pull it up, and my computer completely crashed. And that's not a joke. It actually happened that way.
I actually clicked on it, saw what was going on, and then went on to somewhere else.
But I think your excuse is worse than mine, because I would have given it my full attention for 60 seconds.
David Silverman is basically sitting there and having people come and sit down with them, and then he turned around, and I don't know, I was just sitting there praying, okay, God, is this something you want me to do? And actually, I kind of walked away at first, went back over to where Cy was preaching to Vanessa, and I actually asked David, who was filming him, I said, hey, you think it'd be okay if I get up on the monument and just go ahead and preach right now while everybody's over there? He's like, yeah, sure, go ahead. So I walked over there, and I was really questioning whether or not I should do that. And David Silverman turned around and he goes, are you photobombing me? And I thought, you know what, let's just get up here and just, all I can do is preach the truth in love and warn them of the judgment to come and try to thank them for their own tolerance, which is what they claim to preach. So.
And you weren't treated tolerantly, I'm guessing.
Well, you can listen to it on the video. You can listen to some of the things that were said. Some of the things like burn them at the stake. Where's the Romans when you need them? Bring out the.
That was me. Sorry.
Sigh. Is it safe for airway at all, or is there cuss words in it?
No, I didn't hear any. I mean, we would have bleeped them out if we heard them. So.
Okay. Well, we'll before we.
The one with mine has cuss words in it.
Okay. Well.
Yeah.
And I think the atheist swore a little bit too. But we actually checked out the pad for the monument the day before, the crew that I was with from American Vision, and it wasn't in place yet. And Chad and myself, we both have a bit of a technical background, we looked at the platform, and the thing was crooked.
Sure.
And we thought, well, we're wondering what
that's
they're going
fitting.
to use to. We thought we were wondering what they're going to use to level this granite monument, and they used that well-known granite monument leveling compound, silicone.
Okay.
Yeah. So anyhow, I stood up there and I felt the thing wobbling under my feet. I mean, it is really a piece of junk. And then after I got off, I mean, there were enough people on there. I mean, the combined weight of 2 people sitting on there is hopefully more weight than me standing on there. So it was already, I imagine, starting to wobble. And when I got up there, maybe people saw it wobbling under my feet, and that's when the police came and put the crime scene tape around it. And I guess they took it off without fixing it because Eric went back the next day and it was still wobbling. But there were a few people across the street that were protesting of a more crimson-necked persuasion. They had a big 4x4 there, and I don't think that monument, considering the people who live around there, I don't think that monument's going to last long. I mean, if the wind doesn't knock it over, then I think that somebody might come with one of their big 4x4s and put a rope around it and drag it away. But like I say, it is a pretty flimsy thing, and I don't think it's going to last. But
I heard there were some racist groups out there protesting. Is that also true?
Well,
yeah, there were some Confederates there with the Confederate flag, and David was looking over at them. He wasn't going to go talk with them, but there was actually some people in our group that thought that they might have been paid by the atheists to show up, that it was a plant. Because the interesting thing is that Fox News was there.
Yeah,
and
I saw you on
Fox
that.
News wanted to interview the atheists, and they went over and they interviewed those people. But they did not want a rational, reasoned response from Christianity. They want the mockery of... they want to mock those people who profess Christianity who have some really odd beliefs.
Oh, is this the video? Oh, no, this is our outro music. All right. This is Rebels Cause Radio. When we come back, we'll hear a little bit more about the experience, and I don't know. We'll decide whether we think it was a good thing or a bad thing, I guess. I don't know. This is Rebels Cause Radio. It's brought to you by Wrath and Grace Clothing, wrathandgrace.com.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.
I'm Brian Leach, owner and general manager of Service Legends. I brought along a couple of the Home Comfort heroes.
Hi, I'm Tammy Wells.
I am Nick Wondershide.
I'm administrative manager.
I am the senior technician
from Service Legends.
It seems like every good thing, when you feel it to the bone that it's good, there's a lot of hard work put behind it. I don't think that you can fake it and have it turn out good.
You know, if we seem like, okay, that's just weird, it's just a furnace, why would you believe so deeply in a furnace? It's not just that, we want to show the world that you can have good service.
Yeah, I mean, it's gotta be, it's your home.
It's built into our daily trainings, it's built into our culture, that we're gonna do whatever it takes to have each client say they love us, period.
That's why we spend all the hours in the training that we do. And if we guarantee it's gonna be a good experience for you, or else it's free, what type of work do you think we're gonna do?
There is a guarantee.
Temperature selection guarantee, fixed right or it's free guarantee, comfort guarantee, best value guarantee. All of these guarantees hold us accountable to ensuring that we exceed your expectations. And if for whatever reason we'd fail and we can't make it right, we guarantee all of those guarantees with a 100% money back guarantee.
I mean, if you don't think that your technician can fix it right, are you gonna say that to a client? No.
You don't have to worry about having a technician come to your house.
We drug test, background check all of our team members. We put safe people in your home. Each and every one of our service techs, 400 hours a year in training.
You tell it the minute they walk in the door. They know what they're doing, they've done their homework, and they actually truly care about what you want.
Because at the end of the day, you're the person that makes sure I have a job.
They're gonna be listening. They're gonna wanna know what your challenges are. Then they're gonna come and give you options, and you get to choose.
If I'm there to help and I make it easy and painless, I did my job right that day.
Well, when it comes to your comfort, safety, and your family, you don't necessarily go buy the most expensive, but you get the most bang for your buck.
Oh, it's worth it, because there's a lot of people that will find a way to get it to work right now and then leave and then come back, charge you again, and the cycle just repeats itself. So when I'm out there looking at the furnace, I want to find why it failed today. How can we change the part today with something that you're not going to have to worry about? Is it worth changing the part today? I mean, you can put a lot of money into a furnace. I can fix parts all day. There's good job security in that for me. But is it the right thing for you?
I get a lot of the phone calls of after the technicians are there. They're just in awe. They're like, wow, you guys are great. I mean, I don't even know what to say. You guys are great. Everything you did was perfect. It was great.
Keep going, though. I like this.
Just give us a try. I'm going to take all the risk.
I've got the time to make this right. I've got the support to make it right.
Just check us out.
And if you don't see the value in what we do,
I mean, fixed right or it's free or 100% money back.
enough said.
We know that there are a lot of great radio shows that you can be a fan of, but there is only one that's certified organic, free range, and cage free. Just like that hippie chicken you ate for dinner. This is a Rebels Cause Radio.
I'd like to thank the tolerance of the American atheists for providing a platform to proclaim the truth that Jesus Christ is Lord for the glory of God the Father. Thank you very much for being tolerant of other religions. Thank you so much. The Bible says very clearly, short of the glory of God.
Like us on Facebook, facebook.com.
You needed to cut out that last part, Ryan. That was the video that Eric Hovind was talking about that I said I grazed through. And yeah, I stopped about 3 seconds in. But we played the whole thing here. So now, Eric, we have seen your video.
And it had my rapt attention for the whole 60 seconds.
It did. I do have to bleep out one word in there. But other than that, it'll be all right.
The good news is it didn't come from you.
No. Well, you know, there was no tolerance there.
No.
I mean, they literally asked for him to be eaten by lions.
They said, where are the lions? They said, where are the Romans when you need them?
Burn them at the stake.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this is a loving people. These atheists, what is that monument? Like, that whole monument has all those statements of how they love humanity. Where was that?
Yeah, well, they only hold themselves to the highest of double standards.
I mean, I understand from their position that maybe they're a little irritated at Cy's prank. Cy admits it was a silly prank.
Now, hang on. That hadn't even happened.
I was going to say
that hadn't happened yet?
I was going to say that hadn't happened yet.
Oh, wow.
That was after.
They had nothing to be upset about. They were on cloud nine. They were on cloud nine, loving the fact that they are preaching against what they say they don't believe in. Of course, we asked them, hey, are you planning on building a monument against Santa Claus at the mall? No. Easter Bunny? No. So that hadn't happened yet. Cy said, you know what? You think that was bad? Watch this. And he laid it on. Should I tell him what you said you were thinking about doing, Cy? Should I tell him that?
Well, you have to now.
Yeah.
I don't remember.
Well,
we better not then. We'll leave that hanging.
Well, go ahead. I don't mind. I have nothing to hide.
No, I'm just kidding. I was going to make something absurd up, but then they would think, oh, you really did that? And I was probably one of those
we would have believed it, too.
I don't think we need to add any more bad media coverage to this event. So what I'm hearing so far is you did not break the monument. You did not wrap it in toilet paper. You didn't throw toilet paper out of a toilet seat out of a passing car. You didn't throw a toilet seat, period. Am I right?
I would say if they would have said this, they would have got it accurate. If they would have said Cy was there to preach the truth and love, bingo, you got it. You're there. You're good. But they didn't say that.
Speaking of the King James Version, this is
we try not to here.
Very appropriate analogy of textual criticism, which I thought was pretty good, because there's one tiny newspaper that got the story relatively right. But if 100 years from now people look back and try and find out the truth of this story, they're going to find the Associated Press story, which went viral. It went went international. Actually, I even read some posts from England in it that said what I had done. Now people would say, well, that's the accurate one because it has the most copies. And I thought it was a very good explanation as to why the majority of the text isn't necessarily the right translation. You have to get to date and those that were closest to the event. So, although it has nothing to do with the toilet seat incident, I thought it was a very good example of the majority text is not always right.
Fair enough. We lost Brian Peters, which is something we announced on Facebook. I guess we haven't announced it here. Brian Peters will no longer be joining us on a regular basis. And so with him, a lot of our textual criticism debates have gone because we're back to all ESV readers. But, maybe we'll find another King James.
Except for your guests.
Oh, is Eric are you King James only, Eric?
When you say King James only in Pensacola, it makes it sound like you would agree with Peter Ruckman, who says that the King James Version has been re-inspired, and I wouldn't go that far. The way I say it is I'm King James preferred. I grew up with it. I think it's I would say this, I think it's the best translation of God's preserved word. Since I grew up with it, it's easy for me to understand. So that's what I use.
Okay.
Sorry, I really didn't mean to put Eric on the spot. I was just having some fun with him.
I just thought I'd ask. I knew he'd have an answer. Eric has an answer for almost everything.
Yeah, it's a Pat answer.
So
this true answer. I'm King. No, that's the thing is down here, you don't understand. Down here, when you say King James only, it's a whole nother level.
The thing is,
so that's why I can't say King James only. That's why I say, I'm King James preferred. I believe the King James is what I would consider the best translation of God's preserved word. Did God preserve his word? Yes, of course. But he did that before King James. So anyway.
Yeah, well, and the thing is the term King James only, it has a pejorative term to it, or a pejorative flavor to it that's probably unintended by most people who would say it.
Hold on a second. Before we answer, I just want to get this out in case he's listening. I can't raise him on Facebook. The whole way this story got to me was the last time I think we had Eric and Cy on the show together, we had an atheist on named Theo Cyrene. And he brought me this story and asked me if this was how I would respond. And he gave me, of course, a bad version. And I said, well, if that's what happened, no, that's not what I would do. And gave him some scriptures as to where I would be on the issue. He asked to call in. I told him I was on the fence about it, hadn't made up my mind. I am fine with you calling in, Theo. If you're listening, it's 1-855-244-0077. I have messaged you on Facebook to let you know as well. Anybody else that was there or wants to talk about the incident is also welcome to call in, 1-855-244-0077. But I wanted to let Theo know I did make the decision. I realize it's a little late. I'm not going to call you a coward or something if you don't call in, because more than likely you probably aren't listening. But I just wanted to make sure you knew that opportunity was available if you were listening. So, but yeah, that's how the whole story got to me. So, Saturday evening, I get it might even been Sunday. I can't remember. I got a message via Facebook from this guy and said, with a video clip and in the story, and he asked if this was how Christians were supposed to act. And so,
the interesting thing about that is I could not care less what other Christians would say they would do. Of course I will take godly advice, but these are people who are saying, well, I wouldn't have done this, I would have done that, but the point is they didn't and they aren't.
Sure.
So if these are people are saying, well, look, this is what I do, fine. And I get that it was childish, that was the point, but it was righteous mockery, it was exposing the inconsistency of the worldview, and it accomplished what I wanted it to accomplish. And, hopefully for the glory of God.
Well, and my friend Keith Darrell, while he was here, got some criticism from actually a pastor I really respect. And he looked at me and said, here's the deal. I have my highway. I'm going down it. This is my understanding of Scripture, and I am doing the best job I can to interpret and act out what the Christian life looks like through my understanding. And that's kind of what you're saying there, is this is the way you understand it. You believe it to be this way, and you'll answer to God for that, and you pray and hope that was, in fact, righteous. I don't have a problem with that explanation.
I considered the options. I mean, we talked about it with the crew. It's not like, I bought it days ahead of time.
Sure.
So it's not like I didn't consider the options. I did consider the options. I decided to do it anyways. And sure, I'll face the consequences for it. I don't have a problem with it. It accomplished what I wanted to accomplish. And people don't understand that this was an event which mocked God.
Sure.
And if I respond in kind, which, there's biblical examples of that, I don't have a problem with that. Would I do that and mock atheism? If an atheist daughter just got killed? Of course not. There are times and place for it, and I think that this was a time and a place for it. If people disagree with me, that's fine. But my first question is to them, how do you do it?
Okay.
When you're on the street, when you engage atheists, how do you do it?
We'll answer that when we come back from this break. This is a Rebels Cause Radio. Rebels Cause is brought to you by Wrath and Grace Clothing, wrathandgrace.com. We will see you right after the break, and we'll answer the question of what should you do?
You're 10, 25, 50, 80 years old and beyond. Everyone needs to live within their means. I'm Tom Coates with Consumer Credit of America. For almost a quarter of a century, we've helped people of all ages learn to manage their personal finances to benefit them far into the future. When problems arise, we've got the experience you need to make those debt problems go away. Got financial problems? Call Consumer Credit of America.
Drink, dance, party. Kitty's is the ultimate dance club in Des Moines. A huge dance floor with room to move, 3 bars to keep your drinks full, and kickin' DJs playing all your favorite dance music. At Kitty's, we've always got your birthday party planned with Birthday Fridays. That's right, when your birthday rolls around, there's only one place to go. Gather up your friends and head to Kitty's, where you drink free on the Friday of your birthday week. Find out more about Birthday Fridays at kittiesusa.com. Kitty's, all kinds of people, all kinds of music, all kinds of fun.
Drug and alcohol addiction slowly steals a person's identity, tearing away pieces of their life little by little until one day it seems like the hope of a happy future is gone and there's no chance of getting it back. Here at St. Gregory Retreat Centers, we can assure you that there is hope. Our unique approach to recovery begins with the understanding that the dysfunction and damage caused by addiction can be overcome, not just dealt with. Don't let another day go by. Call St. Gregory today.
Get away from us, you mean old credit card. We don't have any more money. We're in trouble now. Save us! Help! Somebody save us! Somebody help! Help! Save us!
Hi, I'm Tom Coates from Consumer Credit of Des Moines. If your credit card's a little too animated, give us a call.
Hooray! We're saved! Consumer Credit! You're our hero!
Just sit there, get involved. This is a Rebels Cause Radio.
This is a Rebels Cause Radio. I am your host, Dan Fryer. Rebels Cause Radio is brought to you by Wrath and Grace Clothing. Now, Wrath and Grace Clothing has a mission, and their mission is to proclaim the wrath and grace of a sovereign God, one t-shirt at a time. You can find out more about their shirts and what they're doing at wrathandgrace.com. And we do ask you here from Rebels Cause to at least go to the website and check it out and maybe buy a t-shirt or two. It does help us by supporting them. So we appreciate your investment in both us and them. And we'll get back to the show now. During the break, Eric dropped out. I don't know. Hopefully we didn't offend the guy. Hopefully he just had to go. But he is no longer there. But we still do have Cy, Tim, Brug, and Kate on the line, and we were gonna chat about what other Christians should do. Cy really thought about this decision. To the best of his understanding, this is a godly decision. He is given what I think is I'm satisfied with his defense of it, at least that for him, And let's talk about, take the last 10 minutes of the show and talk about what Christians should do when these things come out. You game for that, Cy?
It's interesting that I'm not really concerned about what Christians should do.
Well, of course
I want to know, what have you done?
Okay.
And what will you do?
I have a radio show.
What should you do is useless. That's the armchair quarterback.
Sure.
I could think of things that I should have done. In a perfect world, there's things that I should have done. But, what have you done? What will you do? If people want to, give their input there, fantastic. I'm all ears.
Well, and I think, though, for the purpose of this radio show, we're trying to encourage people to not only think about what should they do, but to put it into action. So, it's a relevant conversation. I understand that there are Christians, like myself, actually, that until a couple of years ago didn't do anything. I was just a Christian. I went to church on Sundays and took the rest of the days to do what I did. And God reached out through me through the death of my mom, and gave me a new purpose in life, and here I am on the radio, hopefully edifying other believers and glorifying God. But I don't think it's completely a worthless conversation. To what should we do? When we see monuments, when we see like DOMA, I mean, DOMA just happened here in the States. Now, I know in Canada, something similar has kind of been in place for a while, is my understanding. But in the States, it's a big thing. Now, we had a radio show earlier this week where these guys basically, I was producing it, and at one point I started playing It's REM's It's the End of the World, and we know it, because this guy was a pastor, and he said, well, the only hope for us is if we succeed from the Union. And I thought, the only hope for us is Jesus Christ. Always is, always has been, always will be. And so I think there are Christians out there who need positive reinforcement and giving opportunities to do stuff. Sai, how did you get into being so active? What was your first steps? What did you do? Oh, Eric's back.
Phew. You made it back. I'm getting echo now. I don't know why that is.
It's because Eric's got his speakers on and no headphones.
And he's got the lamp on the wrong side of him. Yeah. Oh, he just turned it out. Okay. There we can kind of see him now.
So
I was working full-time as a stationary engineer at an automotive factory, and I went to an evangelism conference, and I disagreed with 95% of what the speaker said. And really, that was my motivation to quit my job. I mean, it didn't happen it happened a few days after that. There was more motivation, but I quit my job and I started doing it full-time. And my motivation actually was seeing people do it wrong and thinking something has to be done about this. And at the end of that Ben Stein movie, Expelled, he gives his famous Ferris Bueller's Day Off line. He says, if we don't do something about this, who will? Anyone? And I thought, that's right. People aren't doing things about this. So that was my motivation to go out and do it. And really, the first time I ever did anything in the open air was with Dustin Seegers. I went to visit him down in North Carolina, and he was out at the campus. And I tell you, I did not like it. It was totally against my nature. And I found intellectual excuses not to do it. And deep down, I knew that the reason I wasn't doing it was for pride. Because I didn't want these people to think of me as the freak that was out there last week, calling the women sluts and things like that. And that's what they do. They associate you with the freaks that do it.
With the
they don't
brother
expect you
Jeds.
to come out there and reason with them. And I didn't like that. I had a huge pride issue, and I thought, I don't want to be that guy. But then, I kept doing it, and I kept plugging away at it by the grace of God. Because, like I say, it was against my nature to do it. And, going to the university campuses, it was really, fulfilling to see how these people, when you reason with them, they actually embraced it. And even in the film, How to Answer the Fool, you could see that the people that I engaged, a lot of them gave me a hug afterwards. They took my business card, and when you reason with them and you persevere and you persist, then sometimes it is received in a positive way.
Yeah, I think when you watch that video that Vanessa had of Sai, you're going to watch that and you're going to come away with, wow, how loving to say, can you please see the problem with your worldview here? He did it. I mean, it was just, how much more loving can you be than to, my goodness, Sai, how much time did you take to drive down from Canada to this event to be able to talk to these atheists? Because I'll be honest, it's hard to find a group of atheists. So you kind of like, hey, if there's going to be a group of them, you want to go talk to them. And how loving can you be to drive down from Canada and come all the way down there and speak the truth in love in hopes that they will repent, in hopes that they will see the truth.
Well, so let me do devil's advocate here, though. So what about the people that are going to answer you with, Sai was looking for international attention. He knew this would be a big deal and all over the news, and he brought props along to make sure he got noticed. How do you answer that?
Clearly they don't know me because I love my anonymity.
Sure.
Yeah.
Publicity for me is a necessary evil. I hate it. I like going places and not being known. That's why I was so glad that a lot of the heat Eric took off by getting up on the monument.
Yeah, Eric loves to be known. We all know that.
No, that's not what I'm saying. But
I'm just kidding. I'm giving Eric a hard time.
I was really proud of him and what he did there. I turned around and, like I said, I was preaching, but I thought fantastic. I was praising God for what he did, and I thought it was great. I'm glad that it took the heat off of me, and so I can go my my way and I could talk about what happened, but I'm really proud of what Eric did, and it was just nice to have the encouragement of having fellow Christians out there, so we weren't the only ones there.
All right, guys, it is the end of the show. That is what that music is. Cy, Eric, I just want to thank you not only for being bold for Christ, but coming on here and clearing up a little bit of the bad information and letting us know your motivations. We appreciate that. We know that these things aren't always comfortable, that we had to ask some questions and make some accusations and see how that really turned out. And we appreciate you guys being good sports about it and responding graciously.
Can I say one last thing, Dan?
Say one last thing, Eric.
I like the way Cy and I preach the gospel better than the way most people don't preach the gospel.
I can dig it. This is a Rebels Cause Radio. We strive to bring you up to date on what's happening in Christianity, to get you to introduce you to guys that are being out and active, and maybe you don't agree with everything they do. What are you doing? It's a good, valid question. This is the show where we encourage you to read your Bible to find out what you ought to be doing.
Yeah.
To love Christ and actually do what you should be doing. To go to a good church, a Bible-believing church, and forsake the world. The Rebels Cause Radio.